Japan is the country that loves bento boxes the most in the world. But do you know how picky they are about their lunch boxes? Whether the choice of materials or the craftsmanship, they are considered top-notch. For them, it's not just a vessel for holding rice. It's also a comfort for the weary. Today, let's take a look inside the home of a Japanese bento box master to see what it's all about. Japan is particularly fond of wooden products, so wooden bento boxes are widely popular. They use cedar trees that are over 100 years old. Only about 10% of the enormous tree trunk can be used, and when selecting, one must avoid blemishes and cracks by judging from the cross-section. A large debarking machine removes the soft outer bark of the cedar logs through rolling. The debarked cedar logs are then sent to the sawmill by workers to be sawn into rectangular prismwood blocks, which are further processed into wooden boards around 3 meters long. In the studio, the master divides the wooden boards into halves using a table saw, then removes excess burrs and defects from the outer layer, leaving the cleanest wood core to be planed into strips. By this point, the cedar logs have become very delicate. The master then cuts them into pieces against the wood grain. They are all polished to a uniform thickness using a mechanical grinding machine to ensure precision. These pieces will later become the edges of the bento box. A groove is made on one side to allow for later insertion and fixing of the bottom. After multiple rounds of processing and another round of polishing, the wood pieces are gathered. One end is ground into a convex shape using a grinder, the reason for which will be evident during assembly. Before bending, the wood pieces must be boiled for about 15 minutes to give them enough flexibility to bend and fold along the contours of the mold tightly. The thin areas previously ground are overlapped to achieve the required thickness. Small wood pieces are added at the joints to apply pressure, and clamps are used around the outer circumference to secure them. After air drying for 12 hours, they are fully formed. No additional adhesive is used for the bento box. Cherry tree bark is cut into 1 centimeter wide strips, smoothed with files and scrapers, and then pierced with a knife at the joints of the bento box. The cherry tree bark is interwoven and fixed to create patterns. This method is both beautiful and free from glue pollution. After weaving, the box is ironed with a hot iron and vegetable oil to set it. Next, the inner diameter of the bento box is drawn on the wooden board, and the shape of the bottom of the box is cut out along the lines of a coping saw. After cutting, the edges are finely trimmed with a grinder until they fit perfectly. Throughout the entire process, no chemical adhesives are used. Finally, both sides are smoothed with a grinder, and the solid wood bento box is complete. Such a wooden bento box does not need to be painted. The oils from the daily use of food will gradually create a beautiful patina. Of course, chemical detergents should not be used for cleaning. It can be used for 10 years without any issues with careful maintenance. Do you like this kind of handmade wooden bento box?